Hey there, it's Patrice, and I'm here to let you know the Redefining Wealth Live 2025 waitlist is now open at redefiningwealthlive.com. This is your exclusive early access before the big announcement drops publicly. And trust me, you're going to want to be the first to know about this. Listen, I know the world is loud, distracting, and full of uncertainty, but now more than ever, you need to stay grounded in your vision. And that is the only way you're going to outlast all the chaos that is in the world today. So if you're serious about protecting your peace, aligning with your purpose, and redefining wealth on your terms, don't miss your chance to be a part of something transformational. Go to redefiningwealthlive.com right now to add yourself to the waitlist. That's redefiningwealthlive.com.
The person that's copying someone else, they don't feel conviction. Because if they truly did, if you truly knew what made you special, why in the world would you want to take away that person's secret sauce and copy their secret sauce?
I'm Patrice Washington, and this is the Redefining Wealth podcast, where authenticity leads to alignment and abundance. Join us each week as we peel back the layers on what wealth truly means and dive into conversations that inspire, connect, and empower you to live your richest life. Get ready to challenge the status quo. It's time to redefine wealth for yourself. You're listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington. This is the space that you come to each and every week to understand what wealth truly is. Wealth is not just about money and material possessions. The original 12th century definition of wealth is about the condition of well-being and happiness. And one of the ways that we must be well is in how we actually own our personal conviction. If you do not have personal conviction, your purpose can only evolve to a certain point. You may have all of the experience and all of the education, but if you don't genuinely have conviction about who you are and what you carry and how that is supposed to be presented in the world, you will forever struggle in these cycles of feast or famine, up and down, in and out, never really being certain. And I know I've been there. And I know that our guest today has been there because she helps so many people get through that in their businesses, in particular, women entrepreneurs. And so I am so excited to introduce you today to Topsy Vanden Bosch. Listen, this woman is incredible. She's an emotional intelligence consultant, speaker, and Forbes contributor. She empowers leaders to create thriving, burnout-free careers by teaching crucial emotional intelligence skills. And her insights have been featured in major media outlets, and she's spoken at numerous organizational events on these types of topics. And I have asked her and begged her, baby, and been in her DMs trying to get her to come to Redefining Wealth. So you hear her laugh now, but after the affirmation of the week, the next thing you will hear is my conversation with Topsy Vanden Bosch. This week's affirmation is, my conviction is growing day by day. My inner conviction is a powerful force, guiding me with clarity and strength as I fulfill my purpose and lead an authentic life. This deep-seated belief in my path fuels my confidence, and it enables me to navigate challenges with more grace and more resilience. As I honor my inner conviction, I find myself moving more swiftly towards success, and each step is infused with purpose and passion. This unshakable trust in my journey allows me to live out my truth boldly, attracting opportunities that align perfectly with who I am at my core. Embracing my inner conviction, I experience an accelerated trajectory towards achieving my goals and my ignited, aligned vision. Declare with me today, my conviction is growing day by day. Welcome to the Redefining Wealth podcast, Topsy.
Hello, I am so excited to be here. I'm so happy that the stars aligned and I was able to accept the call. I couldn't be more excited. And I think this happened in its divine timing.
Oh, everything is always divine time. And before we got on, we were just laughing and joking and talking for probably a good 10, 12 minutes. And you said, I love how unserious you are.
Yeah.
And it made me think of a few things. Number one, it made me think of when Reagan was young, really young, and she would see me on television or see me on stage. And then, I'm just mom at home. She's like, do people know that you're silly? I'm like, I don't know if they know that I'm silly. I think they really just think that I'm always super serious, and I'm definitely not. But I would say the second thing to that is when I stopped forcing myself to have this, hi, I'm Patrice Washington, kind of super serious because that's what I thought success looked like. Oh my gosh, the world that opened up to me and the connection that I could make with my clients and the joy that I could have on stage again because I had nothing to hide, nothing to pretend, like no reason to pretend. Lisa Nichols says nothing to protect. I just was able to show up as myself. And so you're going to get these corny jokes because that's what I got to give. You're going to get that laugh. Yes, you're going to get it all. And so thank you for seeing me and for allowing me to see you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think you guys, I have been laughing nonstop since I hopped on this call. And it has just been such a ray of sunshine in my day. I mean, my day was already going well, and this just took my day just to the heavens. So I'm just so blessed and thankful to be here.
I'm so glad that we finally made it happen. I love your content on Facebook. I love the things that you share. And just recently it dawned on me that we were having kind of this similar conversation. So there is so much going on in the world. My goodness, there's just a lot. And I did a live about the pressure of platform because I feel that a lot of us who have platforms feel this pressure to put and insert ourselves in every conversation and debate that is going on. And then I recently saw, after I did that live, I saw that you made a post and you said your voice is too important to respond to every trigger. Let's talk about when it is best to use our voices, Topsy.
Yeah, that's so funny that you saw that post because sometimes I never pay attention to the algorithm because I don't know what it does. I don't know who it shows my stuff to. I just trust that it's going to show it to the people who need it the most, but I secretly do love a good validation that people see it. I love a good like, I love a good heart, I love a good comment, but we're busy people. And I know that I don't always give people that. And so I know that the same must be happening to me. So with that post, it's really funny because I was thinking about I'm not as verbose about all kinds of topics on Facebook. And I was just thinking to myself, why am I not as, I guess, casual with the way that I use my platform on Facebook specifically? And I was like, is it me trying to, because I'm honest with myself. I was like, is it me trying to be this image of who I think people want me to be? Is it me being in scarcity and thinking that every post needs to lead to a sale? Like I really got honest with myself because I do see so many of my colleagues and friends that I respect. It seemed like every post they made just would go viral. And I'm like, this is such an innocuous topic, like Super Bowl stuff or and I realized the reason why I don't just say anything is because my words matter and they're precious. And I am disinterested on making content from my triggers, no matter what it is, because I know that sometimes later on you might be like, I regret that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or this response isn't what I expected. And I don't want to be known for this topic. And I think about that and I realize that it's because I am intentional about the way I use my voice. I'm intentional about the things I say online because I know that it matters. I know that there are times where I might want to share a funny TV show I'm watching or whatever, but primarily I'm always very intentional about, am I making this from this place of power, an intention, or is this just from a reactionary trigger? Because I think that when we do that, when we become reactionary, we can sometimes find ourselves in situations where we're having to defend the way we decided to use our voice when if you would have just taken a moment to think about, what is my intention on posting this? Am I ready for the feedback, good or bad, that I might get? Am I ready to be known as the person that went viral for this one thing? What is my purpose here? And is this truly a part of my purpose? Like, is this the way that I want to be seen? And I think we can all benefit from thinking about that a lot more. Because I have been told, you are funny, you are relational, you are all of these things, but I don't always see that on your Facebook. I'm like, well, I'm not interested in using my Facebook in the same way other people are interested in using it. And that gets to be okay. And so I may not have viral posts that are part of cultural commentary. I may not have that. And that's okay with me.
Yeah, same. I feel like our points are almost spot on because even in the live, what I was saying is I believe that my voice is valuable, which means it's not required for every conversation that's out here. I use my voice when I know I can deliver what I feel needs to be said with conviction. If it's going to be watered down and it's from a place of scarcity, like, well, maybe I should say something so that I appear relevant or like
Yes.
that I'm in the know or I'm woke or any of those things. I'm like, is that actually from authenticity or scarcity? Because every day I have to make a choice to move more intentionally towards authenticity and abundance and away from scarcity and lack. And what I shared in the live, I do daily lives in the Redefining Wealth app. And what I shared was silence is not a weakness. People will weaponize it as if it's the same as when you don't use your voice because you feel unsafe. Like in my former marriage, I didn't always use my voice, even though I had a very powerful voice on stage and on mics and stuff. I definitely felt like I lost my voice in my last marriage. But I still, even saying that, know that silence is not a weakness. When I choose not to use my voice and just give it away for public consumption, it's because I'm saving it for when I actually have conviction around what I want to say, not just join the sea of noise. And that's what I experience of you. My experience of you is that when I see your stuff, it is powerful. It is food for thought. It is permission giving. It is life affirming. It is real. It's honest. What I love about you is it definitely posts that I saw of you maybe like a year ago or so. You were so genuine about sharing how you've had to move yourself from that place of maybe just sharing to share towards like this idea that I don't ever want to have to convince anyone again of my brilliance.
Yes, 100%. And that has been, I think it's an ongoing journey for me. I have this workshop called Cultivate Your Inner Conviction. And I think that no matter where you are in your career, whether you feel like you've made it, whether none of that stuff, honestly, none of that stuff really matters, because there comes a point in time where we have to really be honest with ourselves about whether or not we feel truly convicted about the work that we're doing. There's lots of people that are making lots of money in doing work that they are out of alignment with, and doing work that they feel like they have to convince other people of the value of, but it's partially because they have not convinced themselves. And so what I needed to be honest with myself about was, do I truly feel convicted in the way that I'm doing this work, in the topics that I am helping business owners and organizations with? Like, do I really feel like I am in alignment with all of those things? And the answer was, at a certain point in time, no, I did not feel. I felt like I was out of alignment. And so what I needed to do was to develop my conviction. A lot of people believe that when you feel confident about something, that is just automatic, but it needs to be cultivated.
Mm. Let's dig into that. So for some people, they're not even used to the term conviction.
Yeah.
So how do you
hmm
define conviction? And then what's the difference between conviction and convincing?
The way that I look at conviction is this foundation of having unshakable trust in yourself, in your capabilities, in your skill set. And you know that you can adapt it to whatever situation that it is needed, right? And I think that can take time, but it's something that for me, I believe that I have been able to do with repetition and with intentionally putting myself in situations where I have no choice but to trust myself, right? So when people have hired me to be like the resident mindset coach inside of a program, I had to cultivate conviction, deep, unshakable trust in myself in doing hot seat coaching calls, for instance, on the spot. There is no framework I'm going back to. I mean, I have it in my head, but this comes from practice and learning how to coach people live in the moment. You need to know your style. You need to know what method of coaching you're going to use. You can't go super deep when it's a group coaching thing. You can't, not without leaving people behind. So you have to figure out what your strategy was going to be, what your secret sauce is. And I think that when you take the time to have that deep, unshakable trust in yourself and in your skill set and in your capabilities, and understand that even when you experience setbacks, you have the ability to bounce back. That is when you have truly cultivated that inner conviction. And that is what happens when you are fully embodied in the work that you're doing. And you truly know that this is what God has put you on this earth to do. But it comes with repetition. It comes with challenging yourself. It comes with taking the time away from social media to study. Right? I took like 6 months off from really creating any type of content and just went deep into my knowledge and my embodiment and in my inner wisdom and creating frameworks. It was like my incubation period. And when I came out of that, that's where all of this work, all of these thoughts, all of these perspectives, it comes from that. But when we are just surrounded by so much noise and we allow ourselves to be consumed, it's hard to really cultivate any type of inner conviction. You don't have conviction. You're just convicted all about it. You're convicted about it. You just feel triggered. You feel ashamed. You feel like you're behind, right? But when you have conviction, nobody can shake that. Nobody can tell me that I don't know my stuff. Nobody can tell me that I don't. But that comes with taking the time to really study your craft and to really actually go where your gifts are recognized. That's also a problem I think that people struggle with, is they're trying to make themselves fit and mold into these rooms that you're not meant to be in. Or you don't even want to be a part of, because they will never see your gift the way that it's meant to be seen. What was your second question about what's the difference between conviction and
confidence? But let me, before you do that, you made me think of the story I told you about Reagan, my daughter, before we started. I was sharing with Topsy that when Reagan was about 15, she had TikTok already, and she came to me and she showed me the TikTok comments, and someone left a comment and basically told her that she wasn't cute. And Reagan, I said, oh my gosh, I was thinking about myself in that first moment. I thought about myself at 15 and how I would have curled up in a ball, child. I'd have been like, oh my goodness, they don't like me. Why? And this child's inner conviction is so strong. I said, well, what do you think? And she said, oh, I feel so bad for them. They must be having a bad day. Like, how can they not see all of this? And I was like, oh, like, oh, okay. Yeah. And the way that she speaks about everything, she did it live with me in the app one day. It was her signing day. It was the day that she did signing day to accept her athletic scholarship. And so she did a quick live with me. And my nephew was with us, and he said, well, how does it feel to something? And she said, oh, well, I mean, I just expect it. I always expect to win. Like, wow. I don't ever expect. And it was just as if somebody said, what color is the sky? Is blue? What color is grass? Is green? She literally said it with this just unwavering, unshakable, like, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's already done.
It is already done. I'm not even thinking about any other possibilities. As far as I'm concerned, it is done. And I thought, oh my gosh, to have such unwavering conviction and belief that people can tell you anything they want. They can like you, not like you, whatever. And you're like, yeah, but I already know who I am and what I carry. So I'm not really concerned about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Topsy, if I had that at 17, girl, I wouldn't even know y'all. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know.
Wait, who would you know?
Girl, child, I don't know. Oprah and I will definitely be on vacation together somewhere. Period. No, I don't know. I'm like, man, to have that level of conviction, and it's not cockiness.
No.
It's not an arrogance. It is a deep sense of knowing.
Yes. Yes. I think when it comes to confidence, because I believe that conviction is this like deeply held, like foundational belief, whereas confidence, I believe, is trust in your ability. And I think with your daughter, it's a really good example of that. Your daughter has confidence in her ability to perform. She has confidence in her ability to, play flag football and crush it. She has confidence in her ability to play basketball. And she's received probably also affirmations and validations of building her up, of her ability, confirmation, right? And when you've been able to receive that over and over, that's where you can develop confidence. So confidence, I believe, is this trust in your ability, whereas conviction is this deeply held belief. And so confidence comes before conviction, because if you don't have confidence, how can you have conviction? I just can't even see how that would work. So I will say developing your confidence in yourself, have people around you that see you and that know what you're working on, pour into you, pump you up. Right. I know that I'm doing something different for the launch of this workshop, Liberate Your Authentic Voice. And I'm having I had like a promotional reel and like videographer and all of these things. So my friend, she's just been hyping me up on all of my reels and my posts. Like, yes, girl, get it. Yes. Like this message is everything, because when you're doing something new, you need to be loved on. And that's what helps you build the confidence to do it again and do it again and do it even better next time. Right. And so I think that that's the definition between conviction and confidence, but you got to build up your confidence and then develop that inner conviction. I don't know that I have inner conviction yet I just know that all of my, graphics and all the things are amazing. I have confidence though, and I'm getting there. And that's just within something brand new that I'm doing.
You know what, as you're saying that, especially in this season where there's so much pivoting happening, people are shifting careers or moving cross country. I'll be an empty nester soon. There's just so many changes that are happening for all of us in some form or fashion. I think it's so important for us to acknowledge that no matter what you've accomplished, you may not have conviction about maybe your capabilities or even your capacity. And I think in those instances, we may have to go back to really tapping into the convictions of other places. Like when I'm thinking about Reagan, yes, her confidence is in her capabilities, the things that she's learned to do or her gifting, right? But her conviction is in more of who she is as a person. Her thing is like, even if that fails, I'm still good. And I think for many of us who have accomplished certain things and we've just lived life, we have a connection between, especially when we're trying to create something new and we're pivoting, where we start to go, well, if it doesn't work, or if they didn't like, or if they didn't buy the first time I made the offer, or if they didn't choose me for the speaking gig or this or that, we allow it to kind of unravel our confidence. And then we start to lose conviction in who we are at our core.
Which is so problematic for us to do, which is why the conviction can't be in the thing, right? The conviction needs to be in you. And I think that that is the biggest thing. It's not about, it's not about the workshop. It's not about the sport. It's about you. How do you feel about you? So it is it's an inside job. It's an inside job. It's really honoring you, respecting you, believing in you, rooting for you. You're still worthy, even if you don't get out that opportunity. I love that example that you just gave about Reagan. Like, she just knows that she's worthy regardless. And so when you can have that inner conviction as the foundation of everything that you do, it makes it so much easier to develop that confidence that you want, because you know that regardless, you're good. But it is scary to do, new things. It is scary to fall flat on your face in front of people. That stuff can affect your confidence. But when you have this inner foundation, this belief that no matter what, you're taken care of, you're good. I talk to business owners about this all the time when it comes to the feast and famine of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship goes through these phases and you can't run from it. This is just the phases of business. This is the way it is. And you can't have the ebb without the flow, and you can't have the flow without the ebb. It's just the law. That's the law of business. And so how do you handle it? Well, you look at the seasons that when things were flourishing, what set that up? What typically happened when you went into a season of abundance? What were some of the patterns that happened? What were the belief systems you had to adopt? What were the chances you were taking, the risks you were taking at the time? What season was the world in? That also matters. That impacts the way we feel about feast and famine. And so when you can look at things objectively and you're able to go back to that conviction that no matter what, you've always been taken care of and there isn't any evidence of otherwise, you can accomplish anything.
Okay, so I have to ask, when was the last time you truly prioritized your peace, your purpose, and your prosperity without the guilt? Most people wait until life forces them to slow down. But what if you could be proactive about seeking out your own transformation? Exactly why I created Redefining Wealth Live, and this is our 3rd year strong. This is a space where high achievers can step away from the distractions of the world and get super clear on their vision, faith, and financial well-being. And this year, for the first time ever, we are making it more accessible than we ever have. Redefining Wealth Live 2025 is a hybrid event. And that means if you want to be in the room for a powerful, intimate, in-person experience, you can do that. And if you need to join from anywhere in the world, you can do that too. But here's the catch. Only waitlist members get first access when tickets drop. Room is going to be very limited, very exclusive, and a deep experience. So only 44 people can go. If you already know you need to be in this space, then do not wait. Go to redefiningwealthlive.com right now and join the waitlist so you don't miss out. Trust me, these tickets will sell out. So go now, redefiningwealthlive.com, and I will see you in September. How does a voice shift, or how do you interpret someone's voice when they don't have conviction yet? What does that look like from the outsider's perspective? But then just through the work that you've done, what does it feel like to be in the body of someone who's not owning their conviction about who they are?
Oh my gosh. This is the person that copies other people.
I almost threw myself out the chair.
I know. That's the first thing that I noticed. And I just think to myself, I wish that they could see themselves the way that I see them. That's truly what I think. I honestly think that. And yeah, when they copy me, that's not always my first thought. It's always typically when I see them copy other people. But when they copy me, I have to work harder to get to that point of compassion, right? Because first, I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm disrespected, right? I feel disrespected.
And next we send in a cease and desist.
And that's we said cease and desist. So there's like a lot of things that come before the compassion part, but
we get to it. We do get to
it eventually, because it just can't. I don't have the capacity to have that eat at me. But I think, what does it look like? This is the person that's copying someone else. They don't feel conviction, because if they truly did, if you truly knew what made you special, why in the world would you want to take away that person's secret sauce and copy their secret sauce? You can have their branding, you can have their graphics, you can have their videographer, but you can't have their secret sauce, babes. That's not a thing. You won't have the same result because you have a completely different essence, spirit, intention, goal, destiny than them. And so the way it shows up, this is the person that might copy. Another way I can tell a person doesn't feel like they're in conviction is because they're pivoting on a constant basis. They're not giving themselves enough time to truly work the process. And I'm not talking about pivoting in general. I think that pivoting is a part of life. You have to learn. It's a skill. You have to learn how to pivot. However, with entrepreneurship, what can happen sometimes is that people get impatient for the results that they haven't quite worked for. They feel entitled to outcomes that are not theirs to feel entitled to. And so then they want to jump to this niche or that niche because they feel like that's what's going to make them money faster. When the problem isn't the niche, babe. The problem is you.
Ooh.
This niche jumping ain't gonna work. It's not gonna give you the outcome that you're looking for. All it is just gonna piss you off, and it's gonna piss your audience off. Because now I'm unsubscribing.
Because what are you talking about?
because I don't trust. So when you are in constant flux, in constant pivot, you're going to affect the trust of the people that you're trying to win their trust. I don't see that as trust. I see that as somebody that really wants the easy way out. They want the easy road. And you seeing someone else see all this success that you really want, what you're feeling is envy, but what you're feeling is not conviction. You're not experiencing conviction, not in that same breath. You're experiencing envy, and we got to deal with that. And then when you deal with the envy, the source of the envy, that's when you can finally be on that road and on that journey to actually having conviction. But when you're constantly pivoting, jumping around from niche to niche, now you solve this problem, now you solve that problem. I got whiplash and I'm stressed out. I can't follow somebody who isn't even self-leading. They're not even leading themselves. There's an issue there. So someone else that's maybe not feeling conviction, perhaps they quit just before the breakthrough comes. I can see that when they close down their launches. I'm sure you've seen it. Oh, it ended the launch early and they just stopped talking about it. And you're like, what just happened? Yeah, babe, you're in the beginning of the launch. Why are we shutting it down? Why are you letting the launch take you on a roller coaster? What do you need to do in order to get back into your power? For me, I can't check payment notifications every day. I can't even, because it takes me out of the work. That's a distraction. That's a byproduct of the work. I'm expecting that to happen, right? So what does Topsy need to do in order to stay in the zone and not quit before the miracle comes? And so that's what I focus on. So that's another thing that I see with people who don't feel as convicted is they give up. They give up. Instant gratification rules them. It rules their every decision. It rules most part of their lives. They find it difficult to be disciplined. I could go on forever and ever, Patrice, but I think these are just some of the things that I notice that people struggle with, but that they don't realize is really preventing them from having the success that they want. You got to have way more longevity, babe. Your rejection tolerance needs to increase. You need to be okay with getting rejected.
Baby, by 1,000.
By 1,000.
By 1,000%. You have to be comfortable with rejection. And, here at Redefining Wealth, our first pillar is the fifth pillar. It's about becoming your best self. And so we say that's about being mentally fit for what you say you're praying for. If you say you're praying for this level of success, no good deed shall go unpunished. Like the moment I have walked into spaces, Topsy, where I've just been myself. The way that we started this conversation, my daughter calls it doo-doo-doo. My partner is always like, you just in doo-doo-doo. Like I literally accidentally recorded myself walking out the gym one day and they were right. I was humming and singing to myself walking to the car. I'm like, doo-doo-doo. And so I say that to say, I come into a space as if God sent me, but just with the purest heart and intention. And people are annoyed by your anointing. You have a little too much joy. Your teeth are a little too bright white. You smiling a little too big. And I've been in spaces where people didn't like me for anything that I actually did, except for being, I call it, annoyed by the anointing. You don't know what it is on me. But as one of my clients, Rose says, she said, you just oily. It just drips from you. She says, what? You just oily.
Like the great Nipsey Hussle said, it's not on you, it's in you. And that's what they can see. Yeah. They're annoyed by that. It'll trigger people.
It'll trigger people. But I say that to say, if I gave up and dimmed down my light and turned off and tuned into all of that, every time I walked in a space where someone decided that they didn't like me because I was too tall or too black or my lips were too full or I'm too this or too that, I would not be here. And so when you talk about that and having conviction that I was born with purpose, on purpose, for purpose, God made no mistakes on me. And what I'm here to do, I'm here to do. And what you're here to do, do it. I cheer for you. You cheer for me. But this idea that, like you said, you have to build up the tolerance for rejection. No good deed shall go unpunished. Winston Churchill. It's going to happen. And what do we do in the face of that? We don't quit. I feel like when we quit, it's like, where is your conviction and where is your faith? Where is that just deep sense of knowing? If you say that you feel, especially in this community, it's very faith-based. So I will say it in this way. If you say that God called you to do it, then just because something didn't go your way, did he call you or not? Because if you're gonna keep sitting down, now who's the liar? Are you lying about feeling like God called you, or are you saying that God is lying and didn't tell you the whatever?
Yes.
Which one are we gonna choose? The thing that keeps me going and builds my conviction is I genuinely feel like I'm called to do what I do. I literally couldn't tell you what else I would be doing. And so if a launch doesn't go well, baby, we pull out that what if versus what is. What if? Okay. And so if X amount of people don't sign up, what is? Go live some more. Talk to some more people. Get some partners and affiliates. You need to turn up the noise. Why are you hiding? Why are you quiet? What's going on with you? But stopping is not an option.
No. And I love what you just said, because I feel like there's this, people really struggle, I think, when they feel like they're called. I believe what sometimes can happen is they think that it means that they are not going to experience hurdles or issues on their road to success and to the breakthrough that's inevitably theirs. It's almost like they want it all without any of the issues, without any of the hurdles, without any of the self-doubt. I mean, normalize what it is that you're feeling, right? And because you said that your community is faith-based, like, tell God, like, man, I'm feeling real discouraged. Like, I would love a sign. I would love something.
Yes.
And I think that we need to normalize the experience of frustration on that journey.
Yes.
Because no one ever told you it was going to be easy. And where did you find that belief from?
Girl, you make me think of whenever I get frustrated, my go-to, and I know someone will be like, oh, this is not super Christian or churchy or whatever. It doesn't even matter to me. What I say is, okay, now, this is how I talk to God. I say, okay, now you sent me, and I done told all these people that you sent me. So I done told them. That's literally how I talk. I told them that you said, and so what are we doing? Because God knows me.
I love it. I talk like that too.
God knows me. Yeah, I'm going to tell them, because I've been telling them that you told me to do X, Y, Z. And if I'm saying that I felt led by you, now, if I heard incorrectly, this is the time to make it plain and make it clear so that I know what to do. Girl, you can go back and read my journals for years when I tell you and I promise you, this is no exaggeration. And I believe that many of us have spiritual amnesia, and we forget all the times that we've had to have these conversations.
Yeah.
So we demonize ourselves for having frustration when things are not panning out the way we want. No, there was a time in your past that you were frustrated. This is why I journal. So that I can remember.
Yeah.
And so I go back and I read old journals, and I can see where I had to have the conversation mid-launch. Hey, now you said, and then I did, and then what did I not? Okay. And where a couple days later, I stuck with it. I stuck with what I felt I was being called to do. But a couple days later, I can see where I'm like, or a couple weeks or a couple months. It's not always a couple days, but I can literally see where whenever I am operating from true, genuine authenticity and faith, and this is like, I'm literally just doing what I feel called to do. It's not always a win on day one. It's like you said, it's not always a win on day one, but my conviction is in who I am and what I carry. It's not in the modality.
Yes.
I have to do the work to build confidence in the modality. Every time I pivot and try something different, there's a learning curve. There are things that have to be worked out. And so when we're shifting, sometimes a shift feels like bow and arrow, right? Like you have to be pulled back first in order to really be launched in the right direction. But I still have conviction in I'm the best archer out here. What you mean?
That's it. And that's all. And I think that the more that we can lean into that and lean into our divine calling and what we know we're meant to be doing, we're not going to want anyone else's destiny. Because if you want someone else's destiny, you also want their problems. And I think that when we don't fully appreciate our destiny and what we were called to do, we can start desiring and coveting someone else's destiny without wanting the problems and the hurdles and the difficulties that finally got them to their end destination. And so I think cultivating your inner conviction, I believe, is a mandatory skill that leaders need to have, because that's what's going to keep us in this game, especially with AI taking over many workplaces, eliminating jobs, and perhaps also allowing for humans to actually do jobs that are worthy of the money that they're being paid, right? I think that there's a lot of good that could come out of that as well. We're going to need to understand our differentiating factor and what makes our voice different, what makes our work different. But you gotta cultivate that conviction and take the time to do it.
Hey, Purpose Chasers, let's talk about alignment. Now, I know you've got big dreams, right? But maybe you're feeling stuck, like no matter how much you achieve, something is still always missing. That's where Pillar Mastery comes in. This self-paced program is built on my proven 6 Pillars of Wealth framework, and it's designed to help you bring your ambition into alignment with the life you truly want, a life filled with purpose, balance, and success. With Pillar Mastery, you get lifetime access to an on-demand, self-paced experience that works on your schedule. And here's what makes it unique. The program includes our exclusive Pillar Progress Assessment. This is a powerful tool that just takes 15 minutes, but you will uncover your exact scores in each pillar and learn where to fine-tune the 5 building blocks of each one of those pillars. It is clarity like you have never experienced before. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about creating real, sustainable transformation. So if you're ready to finally bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be, head to pillarmastery.com. That's pillarmastery.com. And together, we will master the pillars of your life with more ease, more grace, and more peace. You mentioned taking some time off social media. I actually wrote about that just this morning in my journal. I really did. I go live every day in my app, but in my app, it's such a beautiful space. It's a international community, like-hearted souls.
I love that.
And we have conversations about purpose and love and joy and authenticity. And we leave all the fear over on Facebook. We let y'all have all that fear mongering, and we leave all the noise to the news. And it is very intentionally that space. And I feel such peace and joy in my space that I have curated and cultivated for my community. And this morning when I was praying and meditating, something that came up, and I ended up talking to my coach about it, but it was this idea that yes, in this bubble, there has to be visibility somewhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. But now you get to decide what that looks like and feels like for you, but there must be visibility somewhere. And I felt something in my spirit, just like, you need a social media fast. You got to leave these people alone. And I'm not going to lie. As I thought about it, the next thought was like, but you're about to release the tickets for Redefining Wealth Live. So you don't want to just go ghost. And so I have this thing about always asking yourself better questions.
Yes.
And so even though I've been interviewing all day, just even in this conversation, what dropped in for me when you talked about taking a step back, I'm like, well, who said that I had to post it? Who said it couldn't be automated? It's like all of a sudden that put a demand on my creativity. But what comes first is being honest with myself about how those spaces make me feel in this season, and not throwing the whole thing away, but saying, how can I approach that in a way that I can still accomplish the visibility that I desire there without it physically being me?
Yes. I love that so much, because I do think that, again, putting a demand on your creativity can just end up causing you to create nothing. So I think that it's such a good idea you're creating the IP, you're doing the work. Doesn't need to be you, especially if you're using the medium of IG, Facebook, you don't need that. And I also think too, it's also putting limits on God.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we're so used to doing the work. We are in this, it is a very interesting juxtaposition that we're in, where we recognize the value. That's what I'm hearing you say, is that you see the value in marketing and in being consistent and in not going ghost. And I think that integrity is there. And I also think that God also sees that integrity too. And isn't he the one that also rewards our hard work? Isn't he the one that does that? He does that. He gets to do that.
Yeah. So good. And it's so interesting. It's like we teach these things, we practice, obviously, we share all the time. And I think it's important for the audience, for people to just hear that it's so subtle and so sneaky. And this is why we're always in the work. This is why repetition and integration and reiteration and making sure that you're having these types of aligned conversations or that you're always exposing yourself to them are so important. Because just like that, a thought can come in and cause you to slip back into like some other thought. And I'm just so grateful even now to say, hey, I had this thought about 8 hours ago, you know, and by this point in the afternoon, I'm like, okay, no,
Yeah.
no, I don't have to do that. Right. But that is the thing that keeps people stuck for years. For years. You said some months of taking a break from social, and I'm talking about today. But if we're radically honest, we have coached and supported people and seen these types of things impact their possibility for years, if not longer.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. I'll send it to you. I did a post a while back all about your voice carries momentum. And it's probably one of my best pieces of work because I talked about how your voice, it can't be contained into just one moment or just one day. When you are sharing your body of work, you're building this library of evidence of your gifting. And so with that being said, you taking time off, you don't know how your words are marinating in that person. Your voice carries momentum. The momentum lives within you. It doesn't live in people. We don't often see or recognize how our voice is still doing the work that it's supposed to do, even when we're not present. And when we can lean into that and when we can trust that, that is what allows us to truly feel free.
So good. That is so good. You carry the momentum.
Yes.
That goes with you.
That comes from you. Yeah. And because I think that we give our power away to all of these things, to our audience, to the algorithm, to Zuckerberg, to Meta, to whatever, to monetization of your reels. You want to make sure it all, makes sense for the time that you're spending. And that's just giving, that's noise. That's noise. What is the work that you are here to do? Your voice carries momentum. I don't care whether one person sees it, 5 people see it. I don't care. I'm here to share the work. I'm here to share my IP, my thoughts, my perspectives, and it's going to change the person that it needs to change. It's going to convert who it needs to convert. I'm going to use the knowledge that I've been blessed with in the programs that I've been in for sales psych and neural messaging and all of that stuff. I'm going to do my thing, but then I'm going to let God do his part. He knows what I'm ready for more than I do.
I always say God knows what you're waiting on when he sees what you're working on. And more of us need to just be working on us.
Period.
Yeah, because we do. We think it's so much about external information, and we have not taken time to curate and cultivate the right internal game, trusting our intuition, which is a part of our connection to the divine.
Yes.
And we assign it away and make it feel like other things or other people know more than we do or are further along or better this or better that. And as you said earlier, you don't know what them people are dealing with. You don't know what comes with all of that. It's best to, as I tell my community every week, mind your business.
No, literally. Literally in all the ways, baby, because you don't want what none of them people got. You don't want that.
Mind your business.
I love that.
Oh, so good. Topsy, I could talk to you all day. I knew that this was going to be so good. Tell us about the event or workshop you have coming up.
Oh, yeah. So my workshop, Liberate Your Authentic Voice, that is going to be, I don't know when this episode is going to be landing, but Liberate Your Authentic Voice is going to be held on February 27th, I believe. Yes, February 27th from 2 to 4 p.m. PST. And inside of that workshop, we're going to be really helping leaders uncover the exact emotional blocks that are keeping them from showing up powerfully and using their voice the way that they're meant to. So dismantling the conditioning that has made leaders believe that their voice doesn't matter, that they need to fit in order to be heard. Rewiring the hesitation that's keeping them from being fully seen in their industry. And so the purpose of this workshop is to just really equip leaders with removing with the skills to remove the emotional barriers that's really preventing them from showing up and being seen in all of their glory. Because I really don't know anything about teaching people how to actually speak. That's not my ministry.
That's my jam.
Yes, that is. And I stay in my lane.
You come to command the stage for that, but you go to liberate your voice.
Yes. Because I am a person that is fully in integrity. And I've made that so clear in all of my work that it's about removing the emotional barriers, the emotional blocks, because oftentimes that's what needs to come. And then we can work on some of this other stuff, because that's when it'll really land. And so that is the workshop. And that's going to be on the 27th virtually from 2 to 4 p.m. PST. And yeah, it's going to be incredible.
I love that. Yes. Well, I just made it the executive decision to make sure that this episode drops on that day.
Okay.
So if you guys are good purpose chasers and you listen first thing in the morning, no, I'm kidding. No, but I'm going to link to everything here. And then that way you can stay in touch. And if you can't make Topsy's Liberate Your Voice live and in full effect, hopefully you can catch the replay or just catch up with her.
They can catch the replay.
Stay connected. You are incredible. You are a gift. And I am so grateful to have had you here. I know that this conversation is going to be really powerful for a lot of women in particular who listen to this show. And I just want to remind us, we talked about my daughter, Reagan, and how I say this all the time, to see what's possible when someone was raised to own their voice, to liberate their voice, to embrace their authenticity, to not be concerned about what other people are doing. My goodness. But I don't care if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s listening to this. We still have an opportunity to continue to cultivate that inner conviction and walk into every room like we know God sent us. And I'm excited that as long as we have breath in our body, we can make the choices and the changes and find the language to do that. Like, we don't have to die the way we were groomed in our in our childhoods to take on all of this stuff. We can do the work and pull back the layers. And I'm so grateful for voices like yours that help us do that. So
thank you. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you so much for being here. We will link to all the things in the show notes. And you guys, I hope this episode has been a blessing to you. Please don't forget to rate and review this episode. And of course, let's talk about it more in the Redefining Wealth app. I definitely want to have more conversation about what it means to build that inner conviction, to really leverage the confidence you have in the modality that you've chosen, but to marry those together so you don't have to feel like you ever have to convince anyone of your brilliance, of your light, of who you are in the world. Because when you walk in the room, you already oily, baby. No, I'm kidding. But you guys, love you so much. Until next week, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever feeling like you have to chase money. And we'll talk to you later.